Good evening, everybody. Excuse my hair. Happy Friday. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Shirley. I'm sorry, Nikki, that you're not feeling the best. I'm glad you're here. The nice thing about YouTube, at least, is you can kind of lay and listen. I do that a lot. So I'm just kind of getting things started here. I was so excited. I thought my design team box was going to get here today and I was going to be able to change everything around and we were going to get to play with the new stuff. Hi, Luann. But it was the wrong tracking number I tracked. And that's good, Nikki. And it hopefully will be here tomorrow. It's in Des Moines, but we'll see. It says it'll be out for Monday, but hopefully it'll be tomorrow. So all right. I'm hoping to play. My thought, I have a little bit of a plan. We're kind of playing off of the Mena Monroe, which I think I forgot that piece of paper with me. That's all right. Um, I'm not sure where it is. Hi, Kate. The Mena Monroe bundle, and we're going to go back to the circus tonight. And hi, Mama. Also, in case she pops in or watches this later, happy birthday to my big sister Tia. So I think she's out to dinner, I think, right now or something, or she's not, I don't know, she's not. But hi, Penny. Let's go ahead and switch our camera around. So I am planning on using the sketch, I hope tonight. This is the CYOE challenge for the month on the Brutus Monroe fan club page. It's to use this sketch somehow. Sarah Scraps kindly got this sketch for me, and it might take a minute for it to, there we go. So, hi, Melissa. This is my plan tonight for our final card. But we are, like I said, going back to the circus. And we're going to do something a little different tonight. And I have never done this before. So we're going to play. But we're doing kind of a little mashup. We're going to use some products that aren't Brutus Monroe tonight with Brutus Monroe. Now, I did ask, I wanted to make sure it was okay. I checked with Christopher. We are going to use the waffle flower postage collage, some of the products. So I have the collage blocks die. I have the postage stamp. This is the regular A2. And then I have the stencil and their stamp. So it looks like a lot. And I did put these links. I think they're on my Facebook channel. They are affiliate links. I did not know if I should put them on the Brutus Monroe channel, so I didn't because they take them to another store. But I did ask if we could use these. Hi, Jamie. Happy TGIF. But we're going to combine it with the rest of the products, which are Brutus Monroe. Because what I wanted to talk about is taking that basic stamp die and using what you have in your stash and new stuff to make it fun. So, like I said, I have never played with this before, but I've been dying to. So I got one of my stick and stamp mats out. Hi, Miss Sue. And then I already die cut this out. This is from some Not Your Mama cardstock. And I'm not sure how we're going to do this. So my stick and stamp mat might get a little dirty tonight because it's not perfect, but I do have my blending buddy on there. And then, like I said, I have the stencil. So we're gonna make some vintage. I thought this stamp set would be perfect to make some vintage type postage stamps and then make them into our sketch. So this is the collage that goes with it. I only have the A2 one right now. I have been really eyeing the slimline one because you guys all know me and the slimline. So what I like about it, like I said, I've never used this, but I've been dying to, is that the stencil just ink blends off or just covers this up enough to, and I may have to tape it down because I didn't do all this. Yes, the Mena Monroe collection has the under the big top stamp. I had the whole list in front of me, and of course I printed it and I don't remember where I put it. I think, oh, it's in my car still. um, and it has some of the cardstock. It has, I believe, some aqua pigments, I think, maybe in it. But we're gonna go ahead and take this. I went and looked under the big top and I pulled the Step Right Up stamp set. There's only a few left of these. And there are some coordinating dies still available under the big top. I know there's the stamp set. I don't know if there's the stencil. But as you can tell, I haven't used them all. So I thought this would be fun to just kind of play. Hi, Annie. How are you? So I'm going to take a bunch of these and we're just going to line them up. Actually, I need to get out my Misty if we're going to do this. I don't even know for sure if if I'm going to color these. These might be black and white. I wasn't 100% sure about that part of it. I just thought it would be fun to play. I did know that um, I wanted to use this tall trapeze girl. I wanted to use her in here. I thought because she fits almost perfectly in there. So I thought that would be fun. And of course, I did grab, like I said, the main postage cloth stamp set because we could have our cents and our cancellation stamps to make it fun. But this is just such a fun stamp set that I thought, we're just going to stamp some images in different spots. I might put this guy down here so that he's not got, that's the clown. And we've got the ringmaster. Thank you. Pearl, shimmer mist, under the big top stamp, die and stencil, 3 aqua pigments, the raven embossing powder, and the holly cardstock. I also wanted to say that there is a disco fever bundle. And that includes all the things that Christopher used last night. For the disco ball, I know it has the disco foil. It has, I'm going to open it up right here so I can make sure I'm telling you everything for sure that's in there because I have it right here. Copy link. Like I said, I had it all ready to go. And then I had my tax appointment this afternoon and I forgot it in the car along with all of Fletch's treats. So it has the Rainbow Sparkle Embossing Powder, the Foil Buddy, the Fallen Snow Glitter Glaze, the Foil Glaze from Brutus Monroe, the Detailed Palette Knives, some Disco Foil Transfer Sheet, and some Magical Shattered Glass. So that is also available. The add-on bundle is currently sold out, but many are available individually. Yes. So we've got a couple different things. Okay, let's grab some of the Step Right Up bundle or stamp set. What I think is fun is that with this block one that I never knew about, a friend of mine, actually Sandy, a friend of mine, and I might have to stamp these out in different times because they're not going to quite fit. I'm going to use this monkey though. We're going to put the monkey in right here. And then I saw maybe the balloons. Nope, that's too big. Let's do the tickets. We'll do the tickets up in here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this down on some Not Your Mamas. These are easy stamps to color. Oh, and of course they're super new, so they're going to stick to my stencil. But I thought this would be a fun way to show how to use this stamp with all our items because we have tons of stamps and stuff that would work with this. Now, to make them super vintage, you could totally stamp them in a different ink. I'm going to go ahead and use the black. This is super juicy. I think I told you guys that last week, and I haven't done a ton of crafting since last Friday. My family was here visiting for a few days, and I just didn't get a ton done. All right, we got to move this up here, I think. And then I'm going to grab my little perfect press from my friend Treasure, and we're just going to push these down. But these are intricate stamps that I can just leave black and white. And then we're going to just kind of ink blend them. But we're going to I'm going to do 2 of these tonight. We're going to ink 2 of them up at the same time, and then we'll do 2 different versions. So you guys can see the difference, what I think it is. Now, what I wanted to show, I'm going to pull this up so you can see this. Because we're going over our die, so you can see right here, I didn't quite get him all in right in here. So this is one way it's nice. Don't push too hard when you're stamping over a stencil, but you do want to make sure you kind of know where those lines are. Now, I mean, obviously we could have stamped off the edge of these, but I kind of wanted to try to stick as close as possible. We're going to stamp them down just a little bit more because like I said, they can be vintagey. They don't have to be perfect and super dark. So I hope everyone's had a good week. First week of April is over. Part of birthday week. I believe Shalana's birthday is Sunday. She is on the inspiration team. And then I have a birthday next week. And I know then we have got Penny's and Christopher's birthday all coming up. So we got lots of fun stuff coming up. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take this out and I'm going to stamp the other one. Why am I grounded? All I did was make great. Yeah, that's it happens. Nikki, I'm a little grounded too. I mean, because that's okay, Nikki. Just be grounded for now. Be really good. I promise. You're gonna love. Okay, now this is a little old. This is. I will be honest. This is a little older stamp set. My stick and stamp mat is super new, so this is gonna stick a little bit. So I'm gonna kind of pop it both directions. See how I popped it both directions and that popped it off for me? You want to save because this is a good release, but there's an even better one coming. Not in my opinion, it's my favorite one. It's coming up so far. I love this release and I cannot wait to play with it. I really hope it comes tomorrow, but it's okay. It happens. It does happen. All right. Now, like I said, this is a very, very brand new stick and stamp mat, and I did de-stickify it a little bit. I mean, that's what happens sometimes when we watch. We are very bad enablers here at Brutus Monroe. Yep. Shalana is the 6th. Me, Walter, Penny, Chris. Walter, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. So yeah, that's how sticky my mat still is right now. It's very good sticky, but I need to de-stickify it just a little bit. All right, now we're gonna grab our other one. And I gotta make sure that I'm gonna line it up as best I can. I can't believe it's gonna be promised. So what I'm gonna do is I have this piece of acetate grid paper that I can set down. So when I go to stamp it, I can check and make sure that we are close enough. Thinking that it's very close. I'm gonna go ahead and try one more. What day? I don't know if I know the official day. Penny, do you know the official day? I don't know that for sure. That is one thing that is not something I know for sure. Yep. Okay, now it looks like we got to move this down just a little bit. So we're going to move this down just a little bit. I'm going to move it down just a hair because I want my monkey to be. Melissa will, oh, that's right. I think Melissa, was yours the 30th? Somebody's birthday was the 30th when we were talking about it. They were Sunday. It was Sunday. But happy birthday if it was not you that during that time. All right, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna make this work. All right, let's put this back down. And then we're gonna stamp this again. And we're gonna use Raven for both of these because we color one in. Okay, December 7th or 8th, but Penny's not 100% positive. I'm like, I know it's around that day because that's when the anniversary party is, but I don't know for sure when. So usually it was in the first, I would say, week, because usually the first anniversary party's in the first week and a half, depending on when Saturday falls along. Susan's was the 30th. Okay, and Melissa's was the 28th. Well, that means, Melissa, you started us off. I thought Susan started us off, but Melissa started us off. Today's my sister's birthday, my big sister's birthday. And then, like I said, mine's on Monday. And I am excited because I'm going to have my favorite food for dinner. I am going to have my hamburgers, which is my favorite. I can't keep all the dates straight. Plus the fact that I've been doing a bunch of spreadsheets from my boss right now. So numbers have been all over the place. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take this off because I want to clean off the stencil because we're going to do some coloring. Like I said, now, if you notice, it's not perfect. When actually, maybe what we'll do with this one is we'll actually stamp this one. We'll make this one different. We're going to stamp this guy down so we get their legs. So you see the difference. You guys can decide which ones you like better because it's off a little bit. Because I know sometimes our pictures are cut off. Okay, we're going to do that just a little bit more. All right. I'm going to quick clean these off. This is going to be the last. It might have just been changed. I haven't actually been on the site today. I know there was a 10th anniversary. Yeah, it was It was in December of 2024. So we're celebrating, we're in 10 year going forward. So the anniversary was because the party was in December, if that makes sense, Nikki. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna grab these stamps off. Just normally, I don't do this kind of thing, but we gotta clean up a little bit tonight because we're using a couple different stamp sets. All right. All right, then we got our monkey, which goes on our other stamp set here. And then what do we think? I think the lion. I think we should. Oh, let's do the elephant, you guys. Let's do the elephant, but we're gonna have to do some masking. So all I'm gonna do for masking is just grab a piece of paper. We're just gonna stick that paper down to cover it. We're gonna do the elephant. Okay, I think the elephant will be fun because the elephant is zoo, right? We gotta just make sure he's straight. Okay. All right. Oh, this is 40 for him this year. I guess I don't know if I knew that. Yeah, I think I did know that. I just, like I said, I think the age, birthday, like I've got a big one coming up next year. Obviously, this is the year 49 for me, but it's just a number. I think the only really important one is, I think the fun ones are when you turn 10, because you turn double digits and you can never go back to single digits. And obviously 21, which, I didn't do the normal 21 stuff because I was pregnant. But it's after that, to me, it's just they're all birthdays. Now, my kids, I think I've told you this story a couple of times. My kids were at school when I was teaching, they always used to tell me that I was old. And I said, well, how old is old? And then they would say 40. And I'm like, well, you can't call me old yet. I'm not 40. So and then that year they're like, you have a few more days and then you're going to be old. And they teased me when I turned 40, which I was fine with. I'm like, whatever. I'm fine with that. 30. It's okay, Nicole. Hi, Susan. Thank you. Hi, Ruth. We're playing with a mashup of the postage collage stamp, the main stamp, because we got to have the the numbers, the stencil, and where's my magnet, and die for waffle flower with our circus release. And I'm just going to use this piece of transparency to line this guy back up. I want to make sure he gets lined up. And then we're going to stamp him down. Oh, I'm taking the wrong thing off. I really don't have to necessarily mask that off, but I'm doing it anyway, just because with my luck, I'll mess it up. Let's get rid of this. All right. So I think it'll just be kind of fun to be able to see the differences between the two when you use the stencil to stamp. And then I got to push a little bit harder, like I said, around the edges of where that meets the stencil so that we can get the line in there. Who is very thick. There, that'll work. All right, so that is just a piece of paper. I'm actually going to just throw that away. And I am going to wipe, because my ink pad is so juicy, I am going to wipe off my stencil. Okay. Now we're going to pull this off. And we're going to start vintageizing our stamps, and then we'll go to making our card. This is going to be the biggest thing for us is going to be making these, is the postage stamps, because the card, I think, will come together fairly quickly. Now, always keep your piece on your stick and stamp mat so it doesn't get unstuckified. I'm going to leave that guy right in there because we're not going to use that again tonight. So we do need a sentiment, but we will do that after. I'm not 100% sure what sentiment I want to do yet. We're going to see how it happens. Now, I was going to say, I know, let's pretend I'm going to flip this upside down. I don't have them, Susan, yet because I wasn't sure how much they would do with the slimline. And I was talking about that. I thought I better go because the stencils pretty much go with this stamp set. This is why I got this one first. Now I will show you, you can use, like if you're going to cut these apart, you could use, I have some of them already done. You could stamp and die them out and then layer them on. And the reason I say that is that I got that block die. I have that block die and I'm going to do it backwards for right now. So the block die cuts out all the blocks. We're going to look at that in just a minute, but what I wanted to show you is it cuts the centers out, and these might not be perfect. But if let's say that one goes there, you could go ahead and then, like put this down and cut it off and then layer them if you wanted to. So, you have the different layers. So I did want to point that out, that if you didn't want to stamp directly in it, you could use them at the die cuts and cut them out too, which is kind of fun. After their guesses, we ended up with 100. So when my daughter was in preschool, they had, they said that her one teacher was no spring chick, and her other one was older than dirt. That's how old that's what their responses were when they were asked how old they were. So, okay, so I was talking about this block die. This is this one. And I cut it out of some of I think this might actually be the scarlet. This is the scarlet. Yeah, which I think is no, this is the holly because that's what I ended up grabbing. I think I linked the scarlet, but either one would work. And what I like about it is you can put it underneath, and I'm going to pull it up real close. And even though it cuts out all those center pieces, if you wanted to mat it, it's going to all of those pieces fill in the holes. So you're not going to see like a blank piece, but like if I show you, like, I don't know if you can see that. See, you can see my light through there, where if you have that, or you can also put it on top and make it kind of like windows. Okay. Holly is in the Men and Monroe bundle. Awesome. Okay, good. I knew that there was one, and I think I linked Scarlet, but I was trying to look at them, the amount there was in stock, and I think that's why I did Scarlet. So I cut one out of Holly, and I cut one out of Lunch Bag because we're going to do some vintagey looking ones. So we'll see what we do. I may not even use this yet. We'll see, because we might cut these apart. All right, so here we go. We've got one like this, and we've got one like this. I think we're going to make this one the vintage one. And we're going to make this one the one I color in. And the reason I say that is because, no, let's see here. Yes, because this one isn't perfectly stamped. And because we did the others, but I want to do this, like this one's kind of darker stamped there and stuff. So we're going to kind of leave him color. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this alone. And what I did is I grabbed my cookie dough ink and my Gur ink from Simon Hurley. I think you could use, vintage photo or antique linen and those. And we're just gonna ink blend some color on. If I can grab the right color brush here. I have a lot of yellow sitting out here. Let's see. Okay, well, here. Nope, that's peach. We're gonna make this one. This one I don't think is cookie dough, but we're gonna make it cookie dough. And I'm just gonna grab my Stick and Stamp pigment palette. I'm gonna flip it upside down because you can tap off your extra ink and you can pick it back up if you want. So we're gonna go in and we're just gonna ink blend all over with some ink. I mean, this is kind of the knot. I could have left this on the Stick and Stamp mat, I guess, but yes, we need to actually heat set this because remember I said my ink is super wet. I'm gonna have to do some major stamping this weekend so that I can use up some of that ink. I over-inked re-inked my ink pad and I over-inked it. But because this is the vintage, it will be fine. We're just gonna quick do that. Hello, Misfit Traffic. This is only 24 left to make 100 now. Yeah. Miss McCrafter, this is the Circus release that we had, and I know the boys, the men, I guess not the men. I mean the men. I think they might be younger than me, so I can say boys. But they used it, and I thought it would be fun to use tonight as well. Um, there is a lot of them in stock, and I mean that is, and this is the one I think we had to that FedEx lost the shipment, and so I don't know if it was FedEx. I shouldn't say that. The shipment company lost them, so they got reordered, and then they found the original shipment. So we have some still in stock, and it's a fabulous release, in my opinion. I don't think I got to play with it long enough because you can do so much with the Circus, from scrapbooking and stamping. Now, just that little bit. I mean, I'm gonna look at that. Look at how dark. I mean, isn't that cool? And this is the Not Your Mama, so it's nice and thick. Um, just that little bit of color on there. We'll probably ink this one up a little bit too, but we're gonna color it first. And we're gonna do some basic coloring. So now I'm gonna go ahead, and I do have a darker brown bush, so we're gonna use that one. Yes, it's a great release. There is still some of the vintage Circus paper pad available. I did not pull that in tonight because we're not going to see it, and I think they're so pretty. I don't want to cut any of them up so that you can't see them. So I'm just going to kind of go around the edges here a little bit. If we cut these apart, which if you haven't seen this die from Waffle Flower yet, that is the design. You can leave it as one big piece or you can cut it apart, but I don't want to cut it apart yet because if we color anything, this one I don't think we're going to color, but I think it'll make it more fun. So, all right, we're going to leave this one aside because we'll do all the other parts of it next. Let's get this one done and let's do a little coloring on it. So we're just going to grab some, I'm just going to grab some markers. I have Olo markers here. Just want to make sure that doesn't turn on. And we're just going to do some quick basic coloring. Nothing fancy. I better put my cheaters on. Like I said, this is the longest part. I hope it's okay. And then we'll start putting our card together. So the CYOE challenge is using that sketch. I will kind of show it quickly again. However you want to use the sketch. And then you can do 2 projects a month. So you have 2 projects for each month that you can enter. And it's a random draw for a store credit for $25. And you must use one Brutus Monroe product on your card. So I'm just going to quickly add a little bit of color to some different things here. I feel like of course we got to have a red nose on our clown. And I'm thinking I'm going to do red pants. I'm just doing, like I said, fast coloring. No real, we're not going to do any blending. What I do think I like about, another thing I like about the Not Your Mamas is that I don't feel like I always need to put a piece of paper underneath. Oh, your mama's 72. You refuse to believe it. That's fun. It's weird to think about that sometimes, but we're going to keep going with the fun colors first. You're going to do some yellow because I feel like the clown has to do yellow. And when I do colors like yellow and light colors, I just tap it. I'm not coloring, I'm just tapping. So, because, yellows are funny when it comes to darker colors. So that's why we're just doing some tapping of the yellow. And I think, just trying to decide what else I need to do. I think we'll do a little yellow on this guy up here. And then I think we'll do some yellow on a couple of these. Those are like little balls on the bottom of the trapeze lady here. All right, so I got yellow. I'm going to grab like a purple because purple is one of my favorite colors. It's gonna be a light purple though to color in her outfit. Like I said, I'm just tapping. I'm not even, with something this small, I'm not coloring. I'm just tapping because the color can kind of spread on its own. And if you don't get it all, it's fine because there's a little bit of, it gives you a little bit, I don't know what color, let me see, I'm gonna do a little color sample of this one. This is a little peachy for me, I think. We're gonna give this girl some, let's see, we need some more color here because I don't know what color here we're gonna grab. No, Susan, don't at all. It's no, I would say nope. I think it's great. I feel like, to be honest with you, I mean, I know we all, as we age, we have issues, but you know, life's too short to worry about any of that. We're here, we're together, we're having fun. All right, we're gonna grab the CG5 to color in our elephant. Like I said, we're gonna just do some tapping. We might add a little extra color to this guy because he's a bigger guy. And he's gonna be kind of gray because, you know, he's an elephant. We're just gonna do this CG, and I probably could have done the warm grays for him, but I'm just grabbing. I don't think life's too short to be thinking about it too deeply. Oh yeah. Didn't you see the guy that was on TV? He's going to be 104 in Ohio or something like that. I saw him on the news the other day. I mean, I hope to get to 100. I want Al Roker, which I know it won't be Al Roker, but I want him to say my happy birthday to me on my birthday. On the Smuckers. I think isn't it the Smuckers that wishes everyone a happy birthday when they're 100 some years old? So, all right. Hello, Scrap Mania from Seattle. If you run into my brother while you're there, you make sure you give him a big old hug. I've seen some of your photos. You look like you're having a good time. Buy all the things. I do need to come down and visit you soon. I really do. Once the weather, maybe May or June, I can pop down and say hi. Okay, let's grab some. But of course, so if I gotta pop down and say hi, I gotta make sure you're gonna be there, Miss Stacy, because that's not, otherwise it's not worth the trip. Not to get to see my friend. All right, I'm gonna grab some blue here, and we're going all out with this clown. He's gonna be super colorful. Like I said, he's bleeding a little bit because my markers are pretty juicy and I'm not being super careful, but it'll be fine. No, I think that is right. If I'm correct. I forgot to do the little ballerina shoes. And then I feel like we got to do some red with the other ones here. We'll do these red. And then we'll do her seat blue too. And even though it's striped, we're going to just make it blue. She's sitting, I know usually they sit on a bar type thing, but that one looks like it's a cushion she's sitting on. So we're going to make it blue because it's my card, right? All right, let's grab some green. Oh, okay, why are my markers so small? These are Olo markers. They do come with a little ring you can put them on. These come so that you can order them so that you can have a brush tip. So you can see this has the brush tip. They do have a chisel. Hopefully they're going to come out with the nib end. But what it is that you can put what colors you want together. Or you can put the refill on one side, I believe, and the full one. Or, so you can have a chisel and a brush. But let's say these two colors, for example, let's say I use these two colors all the time. I can use that ring, and it's a black ring. I don't know yeah, they're right here. And they just screw on. And then, you're always together. So that way like, let's say I have 05 and 04. Let me say, I use these all the time together. Then I can know that those markers are together. Now, I had all of my markers put together, but I don't have the whole line. So I took them apart. Plus, my friend Treasure makes these fun little stands. For markers, it's bluesparkle.com. And and they fit perfectly in there. So that is why mine are like this. I used to have them on, but Amy R kind of made me, thank you for putting the link up, Penny. kind of made me go to these. She calls them her stublets, but they work really well for me. What happened for me is that my Copics, there's a thing called the derecho that came through, and a lot of my Copics started to dry up because of the atmospheric pressure that came through. It was kind of a crazy thing. I think that's what happened because I have a friend um, that teaches a class, and all she had filled hers in June and July, and in August we had the derecho here in Iowa, and they were dry the next couple months. So because the pressure just through, it was kind of like having a hurricane on land. And anyway, I started investing in these because by the time I had to replace my Copics, I had to replace the tip and refill. It was cheaper to buy a new marker, so I thought I'd try these, and I really do like these. They're different. And I'll be honest with you, I actually gifted my 99% of my Copics to my sister this weekend because I'm not using them. I really am not using them. So, yes, you do get more ink, and then I believe when you refill, it's one, like, you don't have to squeeze them in like you do with that. So, this is like the same as I think it's like a couple Copic markers, but I do like them, and I'm not saying Copics, they're great too. And I do have some, but I've been using these more and more. And when I color, I don't color as often as I used to because the colors are just they are a little different, but I do like them. I also color with the tri blends. Um, so, all right, we got to add some green to this. I think we need to use some green. So, yep, it is true. Isis, I have not got any yet, refills or anything. Like I said, I really do enjoy them. They've been fun to play with. Probably tickets probably could have been yellow, but I'm going to use them as green. We'll probably put some more yellow on our monkey here. So we're going to give green eyes, which is kind of creepy probably for our clown, and we'll give him some green gloves. So one thing I can tell you that if you're having issues with any alcohol markers, to color, sometimes you put a piece of copy paper underneath, or just a piece of paper underneath like this, which is what I'll do right now. And it will help suck up so that you don't bleed. Oops, I just colored that monkey's arm yellow, but that's fine. We're gonna put him in a yellow dress. And then we'll grab a brown, which is the only colors I didn't grab. I'll grab a brown. Nikki, I got these originally from Brutus Monroe. I believe Christopher's event is going to get them back in. I believe Tailored Expressions has some. And I know my friend Stacy, Scrap Mania in Cedar Rapids. You can call her store and she ships all over. There's a lot of different places that carry them. I think if you just kind of Google them. Like I said, I bought mine as sets from Brutus Monroe a while ago. And then, sorry, I was distracted by my clown here. We need purple hair, I think. We have, and then I bought a few at Stamp & Storage when I was up in Minnesota, Hutchinson, Minnesota, because I was like, oh, they have some single markers. And there was a few I knew. I didn't have any grays, and I wanted to make sure I had them. I think we're going to give this guy yellow shoes too. So they sell them. They have some sets, but I will tell you that you need to watch the sets kind of carefully because I bought the sets that we had and then found out the primary. I bought like the winner. I don't know if they were called winner. I don't think I have the boxes anymore. But I bought all of those sets, and then I bought the primary set, and the primary set was duplicates. It was in all those other sets. So I sold the other set away so that it wouldn't have, because I didn't need, 2 or 1.5s or any of that. Okay. So that's our basic. Oh, we need brown hair on our girl. Simon Says Stamp sells them. Yeah, I'm thinking there's a lot of places you can get them. I have not looked very hard into them right now, to be honest with you. So All right, so let's get these out of the way. I got to take my cheaters off too, or I will be sicker than a dog. I don't wear glasses except when I color so that I can blow things up. Okay. Oh, we got company. Yeah. Excuse Fletch. He hears a noise downstairs. One of our kids is here. And he heard his voice and he went flying. Okay, so here we go. Okay. They're I don't know, they're huge. I mean, they are Olos are a bigger brand. They've been on the market for a while. I mean, they're not quite as I think if I was gonna say Copics or Olos, I wouldn't be able to choose between the two, really, because they were both great. But I would say Copics or Olos before something you buy off of Amazon, if you can, especially because with Copics, you don't need a lot of markers. With Copics and Olos, you can buy just a couple. If you can buy three greens in a family, or three reds, or three grays, that's really all you need, a dark, a light, and a medium. You don't need every color under the rainbow. Is it great? Sure, but you don't have to. I do. I love them too. They're getting more and more tractions. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you can buy the refills directly from them too as well. So, all right, guys. So here we got our cart. We got our fun things. Now this is where we kind of have to make our decision. Do we want to cut apart our colored ones, or do we want to cut apart our vintage ones? So C for color, V for vintage. What do you guys say? Which ones do we want to cut apart? I'm going to let you guys have a say in that. I'm going to move I just moved that around. Let's see. Anybody have a preference? Because we want to cut them apart. I'm going to cut them apart before I start stamping on them. I do too, and that's why I wanted to show you the difference between, all you need, if you get this one die, you don't have to get the stencil right away. I did not, because I figured I could just mask. So both. You think I should cut them both apart? I can cut them both apart. I'm going to make cards with both of them, but I can make two different ones. You think I should okay, there's two. Cut them both? That's what I want to know. Should we cut apart one or the both? Say, I'm hearing cut aparts for both. The vintage ones. All right. Well, we're going to cut them apart. All right. We're going to cut the vintage ones apart. Now, this is the first time I'm doing this, you guys. We're probably going to go over a little bit, but all you have to do is the lines, because it's just going to give you the simple, and you just go through and it's kind of a fun, I don't know, get it close. Can you hear that sound? And then look at how fun that is. What papers am I using? This is Not Your Mama's. That's all it is. And then I grabbed some lunch bag and some Scarlet. I didn't grab anything else. I didn't grab any pattern paper because I want the star of my show to be these stamps. So yep, we're going to cut them apart, which I think, to be honest with you, is my favorite way from what I've seen. I like watching them be cut apart because I think you'll get more out of them. All right. All right, we're going to cut them apart. We're cutting them all apart. Now, this is the part where I could have stamped the numbers on them, but I'm not sure if we're going to use them all tonight because we got to start moving on our cards here. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to use some pattern paper, but it may be whatever I grab. Okay, so I'm still learning this stuff. I'm going to grab this now. See, here's those blocks. See how they go from there? Now, what I think you could do is, if you wanted to layer these, you can put them on and cut them out a little bit, or I could just cut some stamps. Like I could just cut these off depending on which ones I want to use. So, but I'm going to grab, this is the postage stamp. This is the original. And they have some other ones for different holidays. But the reason I say it's important for this, if you wanted to have this, is it has the little, 30 cents, forever, 50 cents. So some people like to stamp them out ahead of time before they cut, but I didn't do that. So we're going to go ahead and stamp. Let's line these up. We got to stamp some of these with some different numbers, and then we got to keep moving. Okay, so I'm going to put this piece of paper down so I can see what I'm looking for. And then, of course, you have your cancellation marks. So let's start with 15 cents because these are vintage. I mean, they're vintage looking. And they don't have to be perfect. I would not necessarily use my Misty for this one. Do I have a small? I'm going to do this upside down. There's a 9-cent one. So we're going to probably use that one. Let's use this one on here. Actually, I'm going to change it. I'm going to put it on here. We're going to put it right down here. Sorry, I have not done this before, but I don't feel like this has to be perfect. 15 cents. We'll put one on here at 15 cents. And then we're going to grab the Forever, which of course vintage stamps necessarily aren't going to have forever, but we'll put that here. Fits perfectly right there. And we'll put one of those. I'll put one on this one. This is what makes it kind of fun to be able to do. I thought we'd do a Forever stamp with this one too, because it's got that big area. All right, and then I'm going to grab the 9-cent. I should have given, should have used smaller numbers. Yes, the vintage should have the smaller numbers, right? But because we're kind of live right now and we're going fast, that's why I'm using I didn't go through. Oh my gosh, that was 9 cents. Well, our ticket's upside down. We might not get to use that one. I did that one upside down. Okay. I didn't go and look to see what the other numbers were in some of those. I just thought it'd be fun to stamp a few of them out, because we're not going to be able to use all of these tonight anyway. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to quickly pull this over, and then we're going to grab, I'm not going to use too many of the cancellations, but we're going to cancel some of them. That's just because it became a collector stamp worth lots of money. Yeah, it did. So we're gonna just stamp this down, and this is where you definitely don't need it to be perfect. You just stamp it on, because if you've ever seen your stamps, they don't. And I'm not gonna do them all. If you leave them all out, you can do it in different spots. But we're just gonna put a few cancellation marks on some of them, like this. And I'm just kind of trying to fill in a few of the empty spaces. Okay, and then maybe this one we'll do it, and we'll do it a little bit more so we can kind of cover up some of that spot where I, missed his legs here or there. Same with this guy. He's not perfect down here. All right, so that looks good. We got to do one more here. I don't want to do that over her face. You could, but okay, there, that's good. That's all the stamping we're going to do tonight. The rare upside down ticket. Oh, yes, the 9-cent, because his ticket is 9 cents. Well, let's cancel it. There. We canceled it too. So, and that's the fun. Like I said, the part of the fun of this, I'm trying not to get my ink on stuff, is that, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So we've got all that. Now we got to start making up our cards. Now, these vintage ones, I want to add a little bit more. We got to add just a little bit more dark to some of the corners. So we're just grabbing the dark. I did not grab the darkest ink, brown ink. I just wanted to grab a little bit, I don't care if there's a little bit of white. I think that's okay, because, maybe they were protected a little bit more, but we are going to add a couple spots of the dark. Okay. There we go. And of course you could do a little bit with the colorful ones, because, they're not going to be super white if they've been used. They're going to be a little colored. And you could ink blend different colors on these to make them even more vibrant in the background, and stamp right over them, but it works for me. Thanks for posting all the birthday list. Oh yeah, that's no problem. You're welcome. That was Penny, Miss Penny. She's got them all for me. I have some of them on a spreadsheet, but I don't have everybody's, and I definitely don't have all. I know some of the people that watch on the spreadsheet because that would weigh just too many. I have some of the inspiration team members and some of the employees. But all right, we got to start making our card now. Now, I think we're going to go ahead and use a white card base for to start. And I'm going to go ahead and chop this down. This is some Not Your Mama's. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could go through your stash and find, there are some big postage die, like frame dies out there. And I'm thinking we're going to actually use a little bit of this to cut down. So let's pull in our stamp set here. So this is our sketch. That I'm going to use the black as white. This is going to be my matte layer. So we're going to go ahead and cut that down to 4. This is just my interpretation of the sketch. Okay. So you do not have to do it exactly that way. You can do it, you could just do a 1-layer card. It's, a sketch is a starting point, but it should be somewhat so I can kind of tell what it looks like. We obviously have this ink edges around. I'm going to go ahead and use my stamp to be that one. And I'm thinking I'm going to use 2. We're going to use 2. And I'm thinking we're going to use the rare upside down one. No, yep, the rare upside down one here too. Just because. So I think that's kind of fun, but I feel like we need a little bit more color in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some vellum here, and we're just going to cut something out with that. Let's cut out, if I have it handy, the die of the month, which I seem to not have. There it is. This is last month's die of the month, the Elegant Egg. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out just to add a little bit more. I don't know if I want the plain. I think we're going to do the plain. We're going to do the plain because if I do I think it'll take away from the prettiness of our stencil, our stamps. Move my markers out of the way here. Excuse me for turning around, guys. I know I'm probably not what you wanted to see in Friday night is my backside. If my design team box comes tomorrow, I will film my unboxing video and have that uploaded tomorrow. So I will have that done. So we're going to go ahead and add this. So we've got our little vintage stamps here. The butt cam, yes. And then the last part of this is the sentiment. So I'm going to keep using the same thing. We're going to do white and we're going to do brown or lunch bag, which I think I put the lunch bag away. And I already have some small pieces cut out. So we're just going to grab one for there. That'll work. And we need a sentiment. I'm thinking I might do a little bit extra to this yet, but we're just going to start with this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the happy birthday stamp right from the under the big top stamp and line that up here on my stamp on my card. I might try to, I'm not sure how centered that's going to be, but it's going to be close enough. Oh, there is there's a face camera in the bottom corner. At least I kept my pants on. I thought about taking them off and I'm like, wait, you're going to be on camera and I don't want to put my shorts on. So I was like, you can't be standing around and I'm getting warm. And I was like, and then I got to put shorts on. I'm like, nah, I'll keep my good clothes on for you guys. I mean, I'll keep my work clothes on for you guys. So what I do is I just kind of eyeball this and I cut it down. I know I'm off camera here a little bit. I just use the edge of this and that's where I line up my wording and then just cut it off. A TV in front of the corner of the TV. Oh, well, that's okay. I have not either. It's been a little while since I've watched a CZ video. I need to watch one. I haven't watched a ton of YouTube videos lately. I've been watching some of our replays, and that's about it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab, and I know I have a ton of this somewhere, but I'm just going to cut a piece down. So what I like to do is I like to actually just tape it on my paper. That is the easiest way. I mean, measuring is fine, but I find it's easier to just tape it down. Just going to eyeball this a little bit, give it a little bit of a little bit of white down there. Well, that's good. You didn't have to see then, Nikki. And I'm just going to line this up again, and that looks close enough to me. All right. So we have a very, very, very monochromatic card, but I think we need to add a little bit more to it. So my interpretation of this sketch is this decorative part is going to be my vellum piece. Okay. So let's get everything glued down. And I did share a sample using the retro flowering layering stencil from last month on the blog, on the YouTube channel. Not on YouTube. I'm on YouTube right now, on the Facebook channel, so that you guys could, oh, and I wanted to add just a little bit of, I'm going to add a little bit of dark to these corners just to kind of make them match a little bit. Just the hint. So it's not quite so stark. Not perfect, just a little bit. And then, of course, since I put tape on it, it taped down. Oh no, don't tell me I just ruined it. It's a glass mat, it should peel off. Okay, phew. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down on a card panel. Now, like, or you could put it directly to your card base. A lot of times, you know, this is a little secret. I don't always put them on card bases because sometimes I send them to the store. And so I leave them as panels because they put them up on the wall. But if I do, otherwise I'll put it, if I'm going to mail it somehow, I will put it. So we're going to do this. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to glue this guy down. And we're going to use this to hide our adhesive. So let's get that straight. And we're going to do this one up here like this. And then this guy, we're going to pop up with some foam tape. And I thought I had a piece here that was left over, but I have it sitting right here. And then I'm just going to pop this down on here. We'll stick this one down, and then we're going to glue it all down, and we'll have, and I hope you guys, like I said, we're going to go over just a hit. Did I make a Simon Hurley pun? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. What did I say? Okay, now remember we have that upside down stamp, but we're going to leave it that way because I want to. I think it's funny. It's going to be a fun fact that if you go to the store and you see this one, you can point it out and see if, but otherwise we will see if anyone else notices. All right, we're going to go ahead and glue this guy down. And then I put glue just behind those stamps. And then I'll go ahead and put this down. And then if there's extra, we can chop it off on the edge. We're going to put this, I think, yeah, there's a little extra on that side. And I'm going to go ahead and let it layer over a little bit of that vellum. And then we'll flip it over and chop that off. There we go. So we got card number 1. However, what I think this card needs is a tiny bit of penny. And I'm going to look for it here quick. It's not sure where it's at. I did not prepare ahead of time with the pill. That's the gilded. Where's my penny? There's my penny. Oh, his Stark White cardstock. That is a Simon. That's right. I forgot that's the name of his card. But yeah, it was, well, to me, it was way, 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 way too white. or not white, but way too browned compared to our vintagey things. So we're going to throw this in here and we're just going to pop a little bit of penny just because I feel like I need that. And then I think the other thing I'm going to do is we got to add a little bit of extra shimmer, and we're going to add my favorite, the golden, the ornamental gold. We're just going to spritz a little bit. And that is card number 1. I told you the cards would come together fairly quickly. I do keep calling Penny. It's like when they talk about Scoozies and they keep saying the candy. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, you're not. So there's card number 1, you guys. And that is a completely different feel. You don't have to stamp these sentiment, and of course, you could do a little tape that you could cover so that your stamps didn't get your cover, but I'm okay with that. So let's put this one to the side here. And then we're going to quickly add this one. But I think we're going to do this differently. We're going to add some fun color quick. So we're going to glue these down onto some paper and cut them out. And I'm going to go ahead and use some of the holly for like matte layers. She is. Penny's the best. Oh, this one doesn't even have a stamp on it. That's okay. We're just going to glue these down here. And I'm just going to use my ink pad to hold it in place. We use that guy. Let's use our clown. I'm not thrilled with the clown. I'm not loving my clown colors on the face. So we're going to use the monkey. And we're going to use, I guess we can use the clown. We'll put them all on here. We'll use this. And we'll get the Kate, Kate, are you in the middle of the country? I feel like you're near Orlando. Are you near Kissimmee? Is that right? Am I right about that? And this is going to change this completely when you get this, when you see them at it. Now, if I was going to not be live, I would probably take the time to find some, maybe some dies that I might have that match. And I did not stamp that one down straight. So we're going to fix that here in a minute. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the edge on the white, on the cutting die, to make sure it's straight. Land O'Lakes, just north of Tampa. Okay. Maybe that's, I know Melissa's in that general area of like Kissimmee. All right, it's not 1,000% straight on that side, but we're going to fix it. And then we'll fix this one here. Yeah, that is. I did not cut that straight. There we go. That'll work. That one, we're going to just cut. I'm cutting them really fast, you guys. You all know how to cut a mat down. And you can cut them as close or as far away as you want. I am cutting this one just a little bit closer. I'm eyeballing it. So this is a fun one to maybe do some black splatter with, because of the different, to add the different colors. Okay. That's, yeah, that would make sense, because I think, oh shoot, that I cut really slow. That's okay. We'll just cover that side section up. I cut that one a little close. One thing I like about the, if you cut down the middle of the postage stamp die, you are having a straight edge. So when you go to cut, if you glued it down on your mat wrong, you can use that to, straighten out your stamps. I'm not worried about it too much here. All right. Let's throw those little pieces of paper away. And then we're going to go ahead and pull out another piece of cardstock. I think this time we're going to go fun with this card. I'm going to go ahead. Oops, I'm sorry, I shook the camera, and grab a piece of midnight cardstock. We're going to go really colorful for this one. And I'm just cutting down to this to A2 card size. All right. E says, no problem. Go ahead and watch. We're going to be finishing up here in just a minute. So we're going to do just a little bit. The little bit different on this card is we're not going to have, and of course, these are these were very, very square. Maybe we'll do it this way. We'll change it this way. And of course, like I said, I forgot to put something on this one. We'll do this one as a forever one because I forgot to do something on it. Because we'll put it across the top. There we go. And this is not quite right. I'm missing my scissors. We're going to cut it down just a hair. I'm just eyeballing it, guys. We're going a little crazy because we got to finish up here a little bit. All right. So we got our forever stamp. We're just going to kind of do, like I said, this one maybe not be exactly perfect. Okay. So for this one, I think we need to do some pattern paper to pop it down on. And I'm just going to grab whatever I have here. I've got, looking for something that might have midnight cardstock available in it. I need something with some color. All right, let's grab. I just grabbed the vintage maps because I think that's a fun color because we're just going to pop some more color on here. I believe this is out of stock. So yeah, we're going off script completely. Yep, we're going off script. So this one is, but that's my fun. That's, I think, some of the fun part about having a live. So I'm going to do 3.75 by 5. So it's just a little extra color. And then we're just going to pop them up. Kind of like this is the train and they're traveling. Does that make sense? We're going to do this guy, right? Yep. I like it. So that's what we're going to do. So, yeah, I'm always, Penny can tell you, I'm always off script. Even when I have my card all planned out, I'm still always off script. So, you know, and like I said, you could do, if you have multiples, like this is where, if you know, you need to do a little bit bigger card if you were going to do the whole thing. See, because once you put it, and I know this isn't the exact way they were in, but it would take up your whole card front if you had it in the thing. So when you cut them down, you can have multiple cards. So let's cut this guy first. And we're gonna put him in here. I kind of want this little bit of smoke sap to show because I want it to feel like I said, like I think it's like they're traveling, like that's the train. We'll put this guy down over here. And then we're going to put this guy here. Oh, that's not good enough. Let's move him up even higher. There, that's better. We don't cover up too much of our clown guy. Oh, that's what I like about sometimes, especially on a Friday night crazy. Oh, but you know, that's part of what I like about definitely with my the lives. I will sit and I will prep sometimes, like if I know, I just, like I said, this week was a little crazy for I had family in town. So I'm actually thinking we're going to do I'm changing this up just a little bit more. I'm going to cut a little bit off of each side of this and we're going to put it on some white cardstock too. Tie a little bit more of that white in there. You keep on a live. That's the fun part for me about lives is that I can put them on in the background and watch while they're live, and I feel like the person's talking to me, even though they're not. They're talking to everyone that's watching. Let's grab one of our card bases here. So now look at this. Look at how this pops differently once you put it on the white. Isn't that fun? I love it. And I'm not even sentimenting this. You could totally go through your sentiments, find a small sentiment, stick it on one of the stamps, or find a little, I'm going to go ahead and put the, sorry, I'm got to concentrate so I get it straight. You know, find the little, like I use this, I did add this, but we ended up not using it tonight. But they cut out those little windows, and you know, we could stamp a little sentiment on there with the white on top and you've got it. But I kind of like this way, the way it is. I don't know if any of the sentiments I have handy will really be what I want. Let's check them out. We've got Life is a Circus, which is kind of fun. That one might actually be pretty good. Have a roaring good time. No, thank you for coming. Come on, come on. Let's do this Life is a Circus. And I'm going to go completely. I don't do this. And I'm hopefully I don't regret this. All right. We're going to stamp this up. It's very juicy. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these and stamp on it and see if I'm good enough at this. Nope. Didn't even get close. So we're using the Misty. I like this paper too. Like I said, I think it's sold out. I think I used it last week or the week before, and I think it was sold out. I apologize if it is. It is a fun one. If you didn't get the vintage map one, it's a fun one to have. All right, let's make sure this is good and clean before I. Life is a Circus. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I think this paper was perfect for just a grabbing it at the last second. All right, now this, like I said, is very juicy. This is a chunky font, so we're going to try to just lightly touch that. Oh, good, we did it about perfect. All right, I think we need a little bit of splatter on this one just to make it fit, right? And no bling tonight, no bling. And then we've got all these fun stamps to use. This one, we're going to use some of the Raven. If I can find it. There it is. We use some of the Raven Splash. Now here is a good way that if you did not want it on your, I'm going to use these blocks to cover these up so that they're not really on my images. And I'll put a little piece here on my sentiment so that I just have some splatter around the outside edges. I mean, it can get on my stamp parts, but it won't necessarily be on my images. And if it gets on my little blocks, that's fine. I can use those for something else. And then last but not least, we're going to do one more. We're going to do a little bit of that chroma mist. Let's move that over just a hair. There we go. And I'm going to dump those off. Well, look at that, you guys. How fun. This one wasn't part of our stencil, but this one was part of it. I think that's super fun. Like, you know, like I said, I got a couple dots, but they didn't make it on my card. So find a die, a fun die in your stash, and use your stamps like I did tonight. So I hope you guys had fun. I know we went over about 15 minutes. So, you know, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day and have fun at the circus, whether you make some stamps using your circus. I'm going to use the mermaid set and the pirate set from last July and make some stamps up with that too. So keep an eye out for some more of those. And thank you for joining me tonight. And I will see you guys next week. Okay. Have a good night, you guys. Bye.